When communist Chinese forces started shelling islands managed by Taiwan in 1958, the United States rushed to again up its ally with Navy power, together with drawing up plans to perform nuclear strikes on mainland China, in accordance to an apparently still classified doc that sheds new light on how harmful that disaster was. American Navy leaders pushed for a first-use nuclear strike on China, accepting the danger that the Soviet Union would retaliate in variety on behalf of its ally, and tens of millions of individuals would die. Dozens of pages from a classified 1966 study of the confrontation present. The authorities censored these pages when it declassified the study for public release. The doc was disclosed by Daniel Ellsberg, who leaked a categorized historical past of the Vietnam War, referred to as the Pentagon Papers, 50 years in the past. Mr. Ellsberg stated he had copied the highest secret examen concerning the Taiwan Strait disaster on the similar time, however, didn't disclose it then. He is now highlighting it amid new tensions between the United States and China over Taiwan. While it has been known in broader strokes that United States officers thought of utilizing atomic weapons towards mainland China if the disaster escalated, the pages reveal in new element how aggressive Navy leaders had been in pushing for authority to accomplish that if communist forces, which had began shelling the so-called offshore islands, intensified their assaults. The disaster in 1958 is an alternative ebbed when Mao Zedong's communist forces broke off the assaults on the islands, leaving them in the management of Chiang Kai-shek's Nationalist Republic of China forces, primarily based on Taiwan. More than many years later, strategic ambiguity about Taiwan's standing and about American willingness to use nuclear weapons to defend it persist. The beforehand censored info is critical each traditionally and now, stated Odd Arne Westad, a Yale University historian who specializes in the Cold War and China and who reviewed the pages for the New York Times. This confirms, to me at least, that we came closer to the United States using nuclear weapons through the 1958 disaster than what I thought before, he stated. In terms of how the decision-making actually took place, this is a much more illustrative level than what we have seen. Drawing parallels to right this moment's tensions when China's personal typical navy would possibly has grown far past its 1958 potential, and when it has its personal nuclear weapons. Mr. Westad stated the paperwork supplied fodder to warn of the hazards of an escalating confrontation over Taiwan. Even in 1958, officers doubted the United States may efficiently defend Taiwan, utilizing solely typical weapons, the paperwork present. If China invaded right this moment, Mr. Westad stated, it would put tremendous pressure on U.S. policymakers, in the case of such a confrontation, to think about how they might deploy nuclear weapons. In exposing a historic antecedent for the current tensions, Mr. Ellsberg stated that was precisely the takeaway he wished the general public to debate. He argued that contained in the Pentagon, contingency planning was probably underway for the likelihood of an armed battle over Taiwan, together with what to do if any protection utilizing typical weapons appeared to be falling brief. As the possibility of another nuclear crisis over Taiwan is being bandied about this very year, it seems very timely to me to encourage the public, Congress and the executive branch to pay attention to what I make available to them, he stated, about what he characterized as shallow and reckless high-level discussions through the 1958 Taiwan Strait disaster. He added, I do not believe the participants were more stupid or thoughtless than those in between or in the current cabinet. Among different particulars, the pages that the federal government censored in the official launch of the examen describe the perspective of Gen. Laurence S. the highest Air Force commander for the Pacific. He wished authorization for a first-use nuclear assault on mainland China at the beginning of any armed battle. To that finish, he praised a plan that might begin by dropping atomic bombs on Chinese airfields, however not different targets, arguing that its relative restraint would make it more durable for skeptics of nuclear warfare and the American authorities to block the plan.